Week 2 of the Carolina Panthers OTA sessions are officially underway. Day 1 of practices have concluded, so that means we have a bunch of news, notes, highlights, observations to look at here. And, as they progress into mandatory minicamp, I'm going to keep you guys updated with everything that's going on. But in this video specifically, we're going to break down the players who have looked good, who have stood out, but also some of the players who really haven't looked great just yet either. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to be covering everything you need to know throughout the entirety of the offseason. But before we jump into today's video, I need you guys to do me a favor. Real quickly, comment down below a player or, maybe two players that you think could break out this season for the Carolina Panthers. It could be a rookie, it could be a veteran, maybe a second-year player, or maybe someone they just brought over in trade or free agency like a Deontay Johnson. Now, if you had to ask me this question, there is one guy that I think could have a massive impact on this team right away, and it's Ja'Tavion Sanders, the 4th-round tight end. I think this dude is an absolute monster, and I could definitely see him beating out Tommy Tremble for that #1 wide receiver spot. But a guy who's actually been looking really good and, has built a very good connection with Bryce Young so far in OTAs is actually Ian Thomas. A little bit surprising again, but Ian Thomas is very trustworthy, very reliable, and the tight end you just want on your football team. He's the guy that's already starting to make plays, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he is the guy who ends up being the starting tight end. So there's going to be a ton of competition over the next couple of weeks and months as we head into training camp and preseason and whatnot. So I really am going to take a look and continue to monitor this tight end position, this tight end group, because they are deep, they're hungry, and they've got a lot of guys who want to win football games and get that starting job. Also, I'm going to keep a close eye on this defensive line. Obviously, bringing in Jadeveon Clowney, you have Derek Brown and Sean Robinson, probably one of the best run stoppers in football right now. And then you still have Shy Tuttle playing that nose tackle as well. So very excited to see what they do going forward. But without any further ado, after you guys comment down below your breakout players, let's get into the video. Now, one of the most important things so far this offseason is the development of Bryce Young. We've already seen him continue to build some muscle, continue to get bigger, because, the one thing we need in the NFL for quarterbacks is for them to stay healthy, right? The bigger you are, maybe the less likely you are to get injured. I mean, that's just what people are saying about Jaden Daniels, right? Too skinny, he's going to get hurt. Yeah, Bryce Young trying to build up his frame a little bit, trying to prevent injuries in the future. And they've also done a really good job, building an offensive line around him, bringing in 2 brand new starters to this O-line. And, a guy like Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, 2 day 1 starters. So I definitely love to see that. But also, I think Bryce Young is just really picking up this offense, doing a fantastic job learning Dave Canales' offense. Obviously, he's a first-year head coach. And, he actually was quoted saying deep ball, short, intermediate. He's really accurate passer. And he also said, I think one of the things that I love, I can really focus in on his footwork and his base and the mechanics of where his eyes are at when I know the ball is hitting the receivers. So for the last couple of weeks, he's been throwing on air. I don't have to worry about where the ball is going because he's very accurate, right? So obviously the one thing they love about Bryce Young is that accuracy, his ability to get outside the offense and, extend plays on his feet. I think he's going to have a major jump up this season, not only because of what they did with this offensive line, but also bringing in new weapons in Deontay Johnson from Pittsburgh and Xavier Legette, the 1st-round pick, who actually was not at practice today. I believe, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but there is some hamstring tightness with Xavier Legette, so he is going to be cautionary, right? They're going to be proceeding with caution, making sure that he can stay healthy and get ready for the next couple of weeks, especially once mandatory camp starts off. UDFA wide receiver Jalen Coker was catching punts with Amir Smith-Marset. Sean Robinson, Josie Drool, among new additions, are here and dressed. Xavier Legette again here, but no helmet, no sign of Clavon Chase on yet either. And then I believe Eddie Pinheiro showed up at practice, made a couple of kicks, I believe. Bryce Young, like we said earlier, connecting with Ian Thomas at a very, very solid level. Want to see that growth, that chemistry, rapport start to get even more further as time goes on. Actually, so maybe we do have an update here. So Panthers OTA still among those not here. OG Robert Hunt, or offensive guard Robert Hunt, linebacker Jadeveon Clowney, and Eddie Pinheiro. So I guess Pinheiro wasn't. I thought he was, but maybe not. We also saw a little bit of Raheem Blackshear. Now, Raheem Blackshear is an interesting guy in my opinion, just because this team is so deep at the running back situation already with Chuba. They bring in Jonathan Brooks. You have Miles Sanders. You sign Rashad Penny. You bring in Mike Boone, and you have Raheem Blackshear. I mean, they have probably 6 running backs that I think could be really good, or not really good, but potential backs on other teams that get playing time. Raheem Blackshear is a guy that can catch the football at the backfield and can make an impact, but also so can Jonathan Brooks. So it's going to be an uphill battle for some of these guys to continue to get better. But as of right now, I feel like we are seeing some really, really good things here out of Carolina, the Panthers, and what they've been doing so far, the work that they're putting in. You know, I'm just excited to see another season of Bryce Young, man, to continue to get better, continue to develop that footwork, that mentality, and you know, the work ethic that he's been showing is kind of leading his teammates around him to just continue to get better. So that is definitely one of the biggest bright spots of this Panthers team so far, is just the leadership role that Bryce Young has kind of taken over. And yeah, of course, we want to continue to see that going forward. And again, guys, listen, take everything with a grain of salt, because there's no pads, there's no contact or anything like that. But once mandatory minicamp comes around and things get a little bit more serious than training camp, the dog days of training camp is when we're going to start to hear, you know, about a lot of other guys starting to really ramp it up and play really well and start to stand out. So that's probably what I'm looking forward to most going forward. But right now, you can still make a very good, you know, first impression when it comes to OTAs, even without the pads on. And like I said, there's already been a couple of guys who have been doing that. Obviously, Jalen Coker is a guy who at UDFA stood out in rookie minicamp, has been standing out overall in OTA so far. I mean, you could just tell he's a guy that could definitely make this 53-man roster, and he's been outperforming some other guys like the Cam Sims and the David Moores of the team. So don't be surprised if Jalen Coker makes his way up this roster, this depth chart right here. And then you've got guys like Jonathan Mingo and Terrace Marshall really trying to fight for a role in this team right now, and it looks like their top 3 could be set up with Deontay, Xavier Legette, and Adam Thielen. So again, you talk about overall competition and how it's going to be able to benefit this team in training camp. That's exactly what it's going to do, man. There's so many guys that are not only competing for a job, but competing for their career in the NFL, right? So I think training camp's gonna be so fun. Ian Thomas, Jatavion Sanders, Tommy Tremble, that battle, that you know, that trio of tight ends is gonna be really fun to watch in preseason and training camp. And the running back room, I mean, who's gonna get the snaps at running back? Chuba, Brooks, Sanders, and Rashad Penny, and Raheem. I mean, there's so many guys here that you need to be on a lookout for going forward. So hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, guys. Join the family, trying to post notifications. Oh, JC Horn is another guy. Forgot to mention his name. Nasty. Made a crazy, you know, one-handed catch today. Make sure you guys join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next update. They also picked up DJ Wonham as well. Keep that in mind. This team is going to be so much better this season. Guarantee it.